It was a suck-ass week for Miami Dolphins and New York Giants fans. Last week, at the end of the week, we did a segment talking about, Sean, which team was in more trouble with their giant big issues with losing their star receivers, Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors going down with ACL injuries. Well, both these teams are now 1-4, losing inexplicably to teams that they should have beaten. The Dolphins fell to the Panthers after they gave up a 17-0 lead to lose 27-24. And the Giants, and of course, had a million turnovers and played like absolute ass against one of the worst teams in the NFL in the New Orleans Saints. We now get to ask ourselves, which head coach is going to get fired first? Which one do we think is going to get canned first? Because there is nobody else that is this awful as these two individuals at trying to fix their teams.
It's Mike McDaniel gets fired first before Brian Daboll. We're just a week removed from the happy couple of Daboll and Jackson Dart, starting their new relationship throughout the season. They'll let it run the full year. Mm-hmm. Why not? It's a rookie quarterback. You got a rookie running back. There's reasons to keep this Giants team as close together as possible, just so you know exactly what you're working with. The Dolphins are bombed out. The Dolphins are destroyed. Down. Their wide receiver one is gone. Defense is still getting torched. They let up 200+ scrimmage yards to Rico Dowdle.
Hey, you respect Rico.
You say that aloud yourself and let me know if that's a defense that's properly coached in the NFL. Rico Dowdle, 200 yards from scrimmage.
How does it even happen?
It doesn't seem possible. Mike McDaniel's pants continue to get higher and the cuffs continue to rise.
I did see somebody point out a leader of men can't be wearing capri joggers like that and no-show socks. I kind of agree with that. That's a problem.
He does. Thanks for finally getting on board for what I've been saying for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. It makes more sense when they're losing in such terrible fashion again. The Panthers aren't good. This isn't a press conference you can walk into and just quirkily rub my head and say, we just didn't have it and the Panthers are good and they push us closer to wanting death. You can't do that bit today. You just got beat by the Panthers in terrible, embarrassing fashion. I know how that feels. I know what it looks like. It's cause for implosion. And the Dolphins are that. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL that shouldn't be considered in that category, but they are, just from ineptitude. Tua is bad. The running back room, not good. A-Chain and Tua and Waddle should work. But you know who's getting all the targets? Darren Waller.
Hey, man, they got to do what they can.
No, they don't need to do what they can. Mike McDaniel was pitched to us as the football community and observance of NFL football as an offensive savant. That's what he was pitched to us as. And now you're losing to the Panthers, and all you can dial up is Darren Waller plays. 2 years since he's been in the NFL. Give me a break. The guy's lost his touch. He's punched out. He's gone.
Okay, so I get where you're coming from, but as the depressed Giants fan, I disagree. Both these losses are extremely embarrassing, but where I think that the Giants are in even worse territory is that they couldn't muster a win against a Saints team that was unproductive on offense.
Correct.
Have really no quality targets at receiver outside of Olave, who was not playing very well. They had an underrated offensive line so far this year, and their secondary was pretty shit coming into this game. Without Malik Neighbors, it became really clear that they don't have any good receivers. So they had to turn to Bellinger and Theo Johnson, which looked good. But then all of a sudden, this is where I'm like completely checked out. I thought for a second to what you wrote in the doc where maybe Daboll gets until the end of the season because he starts to stack a couple of good performances, maybe wins 6 games.
Yeah.
And Dart has 1 or 2 really nice passing days where he goes over 250, 270, 3 touchdowns, whatever it is. And he could have at least made his case to Mara and to Tish and say, hey, at least give me a shot. They would have at least allowed for him to put out that on the table. But if they can't beat the Saints, they're not going to do that, especially over the next 3 weeks when they have to play the Eagles twice and the Broncos. The same problems that disappeared, by the way, against the Chargers, where a lot of us started to build hope, came back and they were worse than usual. 5 turnovers, a bunch of drops, a bunch of missed assignments, a bunch of untimely penalties. It's been all of the same shit. It has been a lack of attention to detail. And for anyone who doesn't understand coaching in the NFL, when your teams do not have a close attention to detail, it is on your head coach. And when that stuff has not been resolved this far into your coaching career, it is on you.
Trickles up, man.
Brian Daboll, or trickles down, if anything. Because
you're saying shit trickles down. I'm saying blame trickles up. I guess shit trickles down.
Yeah,
there's a lot of trickling going here.
The only thing that I will say, and I don't know if I'm off base for saying this, so it was John Mara came out publicly last week saying that he's, I think, taking a bit of a step back from the team because he announced that he's battling cancer. I don't think this really totally changes things, but I do wonder if what's happening with his personal life and him being such a big decision maker, if maybe they want to be a little bit more patient with this because the Mara family does not want to endure multiple complex, complicated things at the current moment. I don't know if that's just a completely irrational take of the way of looking at it, but regardless, Brian Daboll is done. There is no redeemability left. This team has no offensive juice. They can't do anything.
It was hard to process, and Sunday was so crazy in the NFL. It just was a crazy day. A lot of stuff happening. It was hard to really process and internalize what happened between the Giants and the Saints. It's really a disaster. The Giants are in a bad spot, and the Saints just play grown men football. The Giants looked young. They looked really young.
That's a little generous to say grown man football to describe the Saints, who they got handed a win. They got handed a win. They didn't do anything that was really commanding. They didn't have any. They had the one big play to Shaheed that started to get them back into it. But if it wasn't for the turnovers that they quite literally, the fumble that Dart had was almost handed it off.
Yeah, he placed that one right on the turf.
That one was inexcusable. The turnovers that they had were so untimely, it just made it impossible for the Giants to get back into it. Every single time you felt like, hey, maybe they'll bounce back. No, here's the next turnover.
McKinstry was clamping, and here's what I'll say. If your team loses... Yes, he was. Didn't he have 2 picks yesterday?
The first pick, which I give Dart room for error on, he was trying to make a play on 4th and 6, and he just launched it down to the 5 or the 7 yard
arm
line.
Punt.
Basically, which is why it's not an issue. If you're in 4th and 6, he missed Bo Collins, who was wide open right near the sticks. But if you're trying to make a big play, I'd rather be aggressive than not aggressive. If you check down there, then that would have been actually worse.
Yeah.
The other interception that he threw to him was a total misfire, miscommunication, but it was based on the fact that Bo Collins stopped running and Jackson Dart wasn't paying attention and didn't realize that Collins wasn't where he thought he was.
Seatbelt.
He could not have been handed 2 interceptions better.
Seatbelt.
All right.
Look, if your game is getting decided by a long Rashid Shaheed touchdown, that means you got beasted. The long Rashid Shaheed touchdown should come when it's 30-0 and they get 30-7 on the board. They don't get blanked. That's when that happens when you play the Saints. That's the only outcome that should happen when you play the Saints. Shaheed got in. When did he get in? A minute left in the 4th? What was the score? 30-7?
Why are you
checks out?
Why are you shitting on Shaheed?
The Saints suck. I hate the Saints.
Yeah,
I do. I hate the Saints. Here's why I'm empathizing, and I'm not trying to be too brutal on you guys. Atlanta still has to play them twice. Atlanta's going to lose to them once. And I, as a grown man, will probably cry this year. It will probably drive me to tears.
I can't wait for the Falcons to lose to them.
That's crazy. I literally just came hat in hand admitting that we're going to split with this awful, awful team. And you're
Spencer Rattler, 400 yards. 400 is going to happen to the Falcons.
Gotcha. Noted.